The last year I set out to grow my YouTube channel surrounding improving social media literacy for myself, but I also hope that I could improve other people's social media literacy. And ironically, it led me down a path of literal brain rot. And that may not necessarily be your story, but if you can't, say, read a book for 10 minutes straight, or watch a full movie without touching or checking your phone, much like I couldn't, your brain might be struggling with a similar thing mine was. A little bit of a fun fact. The first recorded use of the term brain rot was actually in 1854. It was in a book called Walden. The author Henry David, as part of his conclusions, he actually criticized society's tendency to devalue complex ideas or those that can maybe be interpreted in multiple ways in favor of simpler ones. And he saw this as indicative of a general decline in mental and intellectual effort. Fast forward to more modern times, the term brain rot was actually Oxford's word of the year for 2024. Technically, I think it's more like 2 words. Brain rot is defined as a deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual ability. It's especially viewed as the result of overconsumption. The materials that we view on our phone. Brain rot comes about when you view excessive amounts of maybe trivial or simply unchallenging material, which if you think about a lot of the platforms that we now spend a lot of our time on, especially TikTok, a lot of the content that rises to the top and that reaches the most people thanks to the algorithm is a lot of the times trivial or unchallenging, or simply maybe some would just label it as like mindless or entertaining.
6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7.
Social media brain rot essentially has a few different symptoms, I think. Things like shortened attention span, constant need for some type of stimulation, and an inability to be present or bored. This is my own personal experience. It's this idea of everything feeling kind of like blah. I don't think I ever shared this because in the midst of it, I was trying to, for a long time, ignore it or question it and wondering what the hell was wrong with me. But for a long time, I thought that there was something wrong with me. I felt like nothing felt exciting to me, and I felt like I had nothing to look forward to.
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
I honestly put it down to maybe just depression. According to my research, anxiety and depression tend to go hand in hand or sometimes live in the same head. And that's just kind of what I put it down to. In a bit more of a reflective state, since taking such a large amount of time away from social media, I mean large for me, I think I took like 5 or 6 weeks off. That was a lot for me. Looking back, I actually think that my feelings around not being excited and not looking forward to anything or not feeling a sense of joy actually were a combination of brain rot and burnout. I kind of just wanted to share that and put that out there because I do think that, I mean, I don't know, again, I'm not an expert, but I just kind of wanted to share that because if I felt that way, maybe that's something that you might be feeling or maybe never considered. And I also wanted to kind of mention it because if you are feeling a little bit blah, in today's day and age, that is not uncommon and it's a totally valid and understandable feeling, especially for how things are right now and how things feel in the world. Obviously, there are a number of factors that go into this feeling, but one of them I think is how much time we're maybe spending on our phone. And I also think that it's related to maybe an overdose of pleasure, but like the wrong kind of pleasure, if that makes sense. Sitting on your phone and viewing these mindless content or just viewing stories, videos, short form content, I think too much of it can make life feel flat and make you feel flat. I wanted to kind of run through with you a little bit of my recovery plan of things that I've done in the last month and things that I'm continuing to do as I repair my somewhat rotted brain. So I wanted to first touch on something that I think I've spoken about before, and it is an app that I thoroughly enjoy. It is called Opal. Now, this isn't sponsored. Opal is a screen time blocker, and you can do this on your phone. You can do it without Opal. You can do it with various other apps, but this one is particularly one that I prefer because it's a paid app. I feel like I'm paying for this service, and I feel like by bypassing it constantly, I'm doing myself a disservice. Another thing I wanted to share with you that I did recently, I actually did this. I recently went away to Queensland. I was there for a few weeks, and when I'm on holiday, I tend to get a bit more kind of carefree, you know, couple more cocktails, couple more desserts after dinner, and along with that, I think my screen time also falls to the wayside, and kind of that muscle that I was trying to strengthen fell to the wayside a bit. So I actually went ahead and deleted the apps from my phone completely. And this may be helpful for you. This may be something that you want to consider if you are either on holiday or like just not wanting to spend your time in that way, or like deep in the constant, you know, checking of the phone. Because you will find, like I did, that you will pick up your phone and then remember that there's literally nothing on there for you to check, and then you put it down again. Deleting it from your home screen on your phone and maybe only allowing yourself time to check it on your desktop computer, whether that be like 10, 20 minutes of the day or just at lunch or something, can actually make a world of difference as well. I decided to reset my algorithm. I turned off suggested posts on Instagram. I also changed my sensitivity settings on Instagram. I don't know if this is something you can do on TikTok. Unfortunately, certain videos I've seen on TikTok will live forever in my mind. And I also went ahead and curated my feed to be a bit more intentional by unfollowing certain creators, certain accounts. And again, like I've talked about this before, I've talked about this on my channel of unfollowing people. It's nothing personal. It's not coming from a hateful place. I unfollowed accounts that I felt were either incredibly negative or just kind of mean, or even like, you know, drama, kind of like influencer drama accounts. I don't want to partake in that kind of content anymore. I don't want to produce that content, so I don't want to review that kind of content anymore. So I went ahead and unfollowed. Even on YouTube, any videos that would be suggested to me, if I didn't want to see them, I would let YouTube know, hey, like, don't show this channel to me anymore. I'm not interested in videos like this anymore. Have a look at the kind of people and the kind of accounts that you're following, and really kind of think about how they're making you feel and whether or not they are having a positive contribution to your life. If you feel like shit, maybe having things like that in your space might be something that you might want to reconsider, like I did. The next part of my kind of recovery plan of social media brain rot revolves around behavioral changes, trying to be a little bit more selective with who I engage with. There are still a few creators that I will still sit down or, you know, watch them and listen to them while I'm doing my makeup or doing the dishes, more that long form content. This next one's quite a big one for me, and it's still one I'm working on. Two factors here. So my screen time and the amount of time that I actually pick up my phone. I have managed to reduce my screen time by about 50%, which is kind of a big deal for me. And I managed to do that over the last month and a bit since I've kind of stopped creating the content I was creating on YouTube. But for me, the phone picking up is still a bit of a problem. And to some of you, this may sound super insane, but I actually went ahead and bought a phone lockbox. I have known about these phone lockboxes for some time, but I genuinely didn't think I needed one. I mean, I'm just kind of treating myself like a little bit of a guinea pig. If you want, I can keep you updated. But the issues that I'm struggling with my phone, cutting my screen time is one thing, but that behavioral, that behavior of just picking up my phone, I would like that number to be reduced of how much I pick up my phone. I don't want to struggle with the issues that I'm currently struggling with. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't mean this in like a holier than thou way, but I think majority of the population is also struggling with. And who knows? I personally think a lot of the issues we're having are closely correlated to our phone use. And studies suggest as well that checking your phone actually decreases your cognitive performance and your focus. And the research shows that using your phone, you know, even if you just use it during a break between tasks, it actually decreases the ability to resume those tasks successfully. And having your phone near you, picking it up constantly, reduces your brain power. Our brain is one of the most powerful parts of us, and we're literally killing it. We're rotting it away. This little device, we're allowing it to rot us from the inside. And I don't want to engage in that anymore. So I picked up this one from Amazon, and I picked this one partly because of the price. It wasn't too expensive. Like, it wasn't like the creme de la creme of them. You know what I mean? There's other ones out there. There's actually ones that cost like 80 to 90, $100. But I didn't specifically, like, this is just my personal opinion. There was some that had clear box, and I didn't want a clear box. Like, what I like about this one is it does have a little area, like a tiny little gap in it, so that if I am getting a phone call, I can answer it. I just didn't want to get the clear box option because then I can see notifications. You know, I'll look at my screen when it lights up. I just didn't want to be able to see anything that could maybe easily distract me. And I feel like a clear box, when my phone screen's lighting up, or I'm getting a message, or I'm getting a notification, having that there and being able to see that, it would distract me. You know, the constant checking of the phone has been linked to higher stress levels and reduced ability to concentrate. And of course, there are apps that do help you relieve stress. I've talked about them before, I use them, and things like Opal as well, and things like Calm. But at the end of the day, I am trying to reduce how many times I pick up this phone. And it's a learnt behavior. I have learnt to pick this up. It's like second nature, and I'm trying to break that pattern now. The screen time is something that everyone talks about, yes, but the phone picking up, like, that is a metric that you can actually track in your iPhone. And the average American, I think the average human, checks their phone, like picks it up, touches it 200 times a day. And I'm not saying that all of those 200 times aren't warranted or valid or necessary, but I can guarantee you there's a lot of this. There's a lot of, oh, notification, oh, Instagram, oh, TikTok, oh, YouTube, oh, this, oh, that, oh, funny video, oh, this and that. And that's what I'm trying to break. Another behavior change I'm taking part in is rediscovering hobbies, finding activities that don't really require screens or are just simply challenging. I've always picked things up, put them down, which is, again, something else I'm trying to work on, sticking to something, seeing it through, kind of increasing that discipline. But engaging in a hobby, I think that's another thing that we may not all have time for, but if your screen time was anything like mine, realistically, 20 to 30 minutes, if you have a hobby, if you can engage in something for 20 to 30 minutes a day that doesn't involve your phone, or is something that you can sit with, that I think it doesn't have to be this, but this is what's helping me. I like things that I can't think about anything else, because if I do, I mess up, or I don't do it correctly. And it's helping me stick with just that thing. Like, I am concentrating on that for 30 minutes straight, and it's fun, it's an enjoyable experience. I feel happy, I feel like I have a lot of fun doing it. Embracing boredom. While I took my little break from posting YouTube videos, and I had this like ample time that I just didn't have before. You know, I had so much more hours that I would dedicate to that, and I had this free time. And in the beginning, I was so happy. I was like so excited. I'm like, this is amazing. You know, I was like frolicking in the gardens. I was, you know, just doing all these things that I just really wanted to do. It felt like a nice little holiday in the beginning. But then I went from being like, this is amazing, to I am bored. I'm so bored. Because I had all these extra hours. Boring. But having those extra hours, I actually learned to sit in these kind of unstimulated moments. It gave me time to think. You know, like I said, not gonna lie, the first 2 weeks is amazing. And I don't know how this didn't come to me earlier. And this is, again, something I wanted to kind of drive home. It took like a week into not sticking with my schedule and taking time off. I had a thought that I had literally never had before. And that thought was regarding, you know, posting the old content I was posting and kind of that niche. My thought was, what am I doing this for? Like, what am I actually doing this for? And the reasons I thought that I was doing it for no longer resonated with me. And for some reason, I didn't give myself enough space to actually consider that. You know, when you're up really close to something and you're doing it and you're on this little hamster wheel and you're sticking to your schedule and you don't actually step back and sit with yourself and wonder, so this is why I think I'm doing it, but could this be part of the reason why I'm unhappy? Like, I came to some really interesting observations and conclusions, and I had thoughts that I hadn't had before, and certain things that felt as if they fell into place. And I don't think I would have came to have those thoughts or have those conclusions or have those ideas if I didn't put a halt to my posting schedule and take some time off and reflect. To wrap up today's video, I just wanted to share a few little things that I personally noticed and I'm still noticing as I go through this kind of recovery plan to revamp my brain. You may get a sense of FOMO. You may find that you are missing out on maybe some socializing or some maybe funny jokes or moments with friends. And that was something that I didn't consider at the beginning. Some of your friends, your family, they might start to wonder if you've disappeared. This is something that you might want to just kind of give them a heads up, especially if you do any of these things that I'm doing and kind of you want to come along on this whole thing with me and we can do it together. You might just want to give some of your friends, your family a heads up, because when I, for instance, deleted my Instagram from my home screen, my TikTok from my home screen when I was away on holiday and even just like taking more time away from my phone, I had people ask me like, oh, like, did you see that video I sent you? You know, you didn't react to it, you haven't looked at it. Because there is this social pressure to stay connected. And memes and internet culture and videos, funny videos, all of these things are tied now to our relationships. And it's a big way of how we communicate, not only with our loved ones, our friends, our family, whatever. It's such a big way we communicate. Also, I think the temptation to go back to your old patterns is a really big one. It's so easy. I think even now for me, I'm still finding it hard to stick with what I'm trying to put in place and stick with the metrics that I'm trying to measure and reducing my screen time, reducing my pickup time, all of these things. It's so easy when you're trying to change this behavior to even remember that you're trying to change this behavior, but then your brain almost tries to convince you that, hey, like, you want to go do that hobby or you want to do that thing for 20 minutes or you want to do that thing for 30 minutes? How much easier will it be to sit on your phone and scroll? I think in moments like that, reminding yourself why you're doing this. I love a pro and cons list, but a list of pros and cons and the benefits and the negatives if I was to continue trying to do this or if I was to just screw it and just, you know, live chronically online. Because it will help you in those moments when you don't know why you're doing it, you can't be bothered to look back on that list. And for me, that list involves, and there's quite a large number of points on my list, revolves around how my life's going to look. You might ask yourself, you know, where do I want to be? The hours that I'm spending on social media, according to my screen time, you know, like I said, most people spend anywhere from like 2 to 5 hours on social media a day. And like I said, you know, the average American checks their phone like 205 times a day. There are so many times, there are so many hours of our lives that are being wasted. It deeply affects, you know, your creativity, your deep work, you know, this sense of feeling mentally okay. And maybe there's a goal you want to achieve, you know. There's a few I've got currently going on. One being I would like to lose the tummy that I gained from all the Wagyu in Japan, the overindulging in vegan food in Bali, and all the food I ate in America, the hot dogs, get your hot dogs. I went ham. Okay, I did. That time that I'm spending my phone or that I'm constantly checking social media, and I could spend that at the gym. I could spend that looking up healthy recipes. I could spend that doing a variety of different things. I'd love to know where you're at with your social media consumption, not only social media, just with your phone consumption in general, if this is something that intrigues you or interests you, or if this is something you want to do with me, because I would love, selfishly, more people to do this with me so that I can be held accountable and maybe I can hold you accountable too. So if this is something you want to do, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear like if any of these things that I shared today struck a chord with you. Thank you again if you have decided to stick around and continue to join me on my channel. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm going to have a few of my older videos there if you want to check those out, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye.